Thursday, June 25th, 3:13 p.m. New York time. Welcome back, investors, to Winning Wall Street's Money. About another 46 minutes before the stock market closes. And then tomorrow we have that one more day left in the week to trade before we finish the week. Have you heard of a stock index called the Dow Jones Industrial Average? It's one of the oldest stock indexes in the United States. It currently has 30 companies listed on it. Very diversified index of the different sectors. Since I just told you, I shared with you, it's one of the oldest stock indexes in the United States. It originally did not have 30 companies. Currently, it has 30 companies listed on the index. There's a company that owns the index, manages it, and they just made a press release a few days ago that I also shared a few days ago to my Patreon members. So we have an opportunity to participate before, during, and after the change. What change is coming? Well, this is the company that manages the stock index, S&P Global. And give you some insight. This company is also listed on the stock market. There's their stock symbol. And that's how much it's at currently right now. It's also part of the financials. And they provide financial data and stock exchange information. Well, what this company is doing is going to change out some of the companies on the stock index. So here, the press release, June 23rd, Alphabet set to join the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Alphabet is the parent company of Google. Let's go further on the press release. Alphabet, again, the stock symbol they're going to put on, because Alphabet has two stock symbols. They're going to put this one on. This is the one that you can own, share with dividends, if I recall. Yep. So Google will replace Verizon. Verizon is on the stock index. The symbol is VZ. Replace it. So they'll be changing out on the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, effective prior to the opening of trading on Monday, June 29th. So this coming Monday, before the market opens, the change will occur. So we have today and tomorrow to participate before as well as after. Again, this is the company that's managing it, manage the index, financial service sector. They're taking off this company off the index. Their sector's communication services. The industry is telecom services. Look at that stock price. It's going to decline more when they remove it because there will be less institutions that were included in their index. This is the company they're going to replace it with. Communication services, but the industry is internet content and information. Remember, Verizon, telecom services. Got it. Both communication services, but different industries within the services. Google. Wow. So looking here, 5-year chart, each candle's a week, Dow Jones Industrial Average. The company periodically changes out companies. They change out ones that are performing better that still meet the requirements. Again, Dow 30, all publicly traded companies that are American traded companies. Take off the weak and put the better ones on. It helps this index go higher. Right now, all-time new high for the year this week. Yep, a new high. Now, when they take a company off, we'll still be on the stock market on different indexes, but not this prestigious index. Yeah, that will be bad for Verizon. Some people might be looking at the opportunity to trade bearish, bear call spreads, other derivatives. That's a trade idea. And others will be looking to do bullish trade ideas, either on the index, bull put spreads, or on the underlying stock being added. So again, all-time new high. Big wicks on the last week and this week. Potential pullback. Concerning. This is the company again that manages the index, which I just showed you. Look how they are. They're underperforming. They're near the lows of the year, still below the highs of last year. So again, this company, very broad what they do, but the index they put together and manage is doing better than the company itself. Wow. And again, let's go back to here. They're going to put Google on this particular symbol, because then there's more than one symbol. I'll show you. So let's put this symbol in here. See how it's doing. Here's the high for the year. Here's the low for the year. Yep, big retracement. Let me pull this back. There we go. That's the high of the year. And we see what the current status is. The trend is down. We saw the status. The index is down. And here's the index. Sorry. The index is up. So the stock index making all-time high for the year. The stock they're adding, again, is trending down. So let's look at Verizon, which if you looked at my past videos, watch them, listen to them, we already know the company's performing lousy. There we go, Verizon. It's below the highs of 2019. It's doing poorly, terrible. Yeah. Okay. That being said, let's go look at the other companies inside the index. Apple. And the point is to show you, we already see the index making all-time new high. By looking at the individual companies, we can determine who the leaders are that are helping the index going higher, which ones are hurting it. Obviously, we know Verizon's hurting it. Thank goodness they're removing it. If you've been following and listened to me any good amount of time, you're aware that I've been lobbying, mentioning, sharing which companies should be removed from the Dow 30 as well as other indexes. And Verizon had been one of them. Same with Nike. So look at Apple, huge sell-off this week. Lower high, lower low. But the index still holding up strong. Amgen. Yeah, green for the week, but way below the highs. Amazon, again, another big sell-off. American Express, below the highs of this year still. Sorry, last year. We're still below the highs of last year. That's terrible. Boeing, are we surprised? Yeah, there's the high of 2021. Boeing, underperforming. Yep. Caterpillar, all-time new high. Wow, amazing. So again, this going high is helping it. Now to show you some more insight. The company they're adding, the stock they're adding, the Google, it's already listed on several indexes. It's listed on the NASDAQ 100. It's listed on the S&P 500. I recall, I think the S&P 100 and several other indexes. So what that means is, if you don't know, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that index is part of the S&P 500. So since the Google is on the NASDAQ 100, part of the S&P 500, Google will be part of the Dow, which would be part of the Dow, is already part of the S&P 500. That will make the Dow more heavily weighted towards Google. So when that Google price goes up, that's going to be wonderful for the index. when the Google price goes down, that's going to be negative for the indexes because it's a large percentage of that index. Still diversified, but it's heavily weighted more towards that index. Salesforce, look at that, terrible, new low for the year. Wow. Another loser hurting the index. Let's update this. Yep, not good. Again, the index, much more diversified. And again, some of these companies coming off there, I choose not to be invested in these individual companies. I choose solid indexes. Cisco, nice. It's an consolidation phase. Chevron, declining. Disney, wow, way below the highs of 2022. Below the highs of 2021. Yep, underperforming. Goldman Sachs, no surprise. All-time high, nice. And one of the reasons Goldman Sachs performing so well, I recall it was one of the underwriters for SpaceX, helping the IPO. They benefit greatly. Nice. Good for them. Home Depot, terrible, way below the highs of 2024. So you see a lot of these companies are below the highs of the prior years. Wow, terrible. So the overall stock market is not doing outstanding. It's certain indexes because of certain companies. It's not a healthy market. Honeywell. There's also a press release on that. You can read that separately on your own about the spinning off a little group. IBM, huge declines. It's coming off the highs of this year. Johnson & Johnson, big move up for the week. Nice. Another financial, JP Morgan, all-time new high. They may have been one of the ones that also participated in the IPO for SpaceX. But the primary one was Goldman Sachs. Coca-Cola Company, wow. Just shy of the high again. Can you believe it's doing better than many of these other companies? Yeah, hardware, a retail store. For Salesforce, terrible. Home Depot doing better. Coca-Cola. Yeah, Coca-Cola doing better than the retail store. McDonald's, new low for the year. Wow. They have a product they released again in the market. Hot apple pie. Maybe it's going to take some time to help the market. Come back to that later. 3M. There you go. Rush through this. Merck, way below the highs of 2024, but new high for the year. Microsoft, new low for the year. What a beating. Wow, still below the highs of 2025. Nike, loser, new low for the year. Again, this one I've been saying for a long time, for years, to remove it. And also I've been sharing so many times trade ideas, bear call spreads, monthly income. NVIDIA, selling it out. So this orange vertical line is when it was added to the Dow Jones. Procter Gamble, yep, way below the highs 2024. Sherwin-Williams, again, this is when it was added. See the orange vertical line. Since then, it's declined. Big move for the for the week here, but still way below the high since they got added. So again, the point is they didn't make good choices. Hopefully Google is a good choice when they added it. We'll find out when they add it. And Travelers, another financial company, all-time new high. United Health, new high for the year. Criminal case occurring soon. Verizon, still below the highs 2025. And this is the one that we're removing. Again, Verizon. Terrible. See, it's below the high of 2019. I expect this stock to decline more. And the last one here, Walmart. So there we go. Dow 30 companies. Next Monday, I showed with you who's coming on air and who's coming off. We have opportunities today. Got half an hour before the market closes. Tomorrow, Friday, or wait till after the change occurs. Again, if you think the market's going to go a lot higher Monday, this particular market, this stock index, Dow 30, you could trade the stock index symbol DIA. I'd rather be in the index if I was bullish than being in the individual stock. I showed you why, because many of the companies underperforming. Yep. So that's the current situation. A lot of companies are struggling. Only a few are making the market go high. Not sustainable. Thank you as always spending just a little time with me. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you kindly for your support.